Our headlines today. A single piece of flight data is blamed for the disruption, which has left tens of thousands of passengers stranded.
A police officer dies 5 days after being hit by a train while trying to help a distressed man on the tracks.
Good morning from the UK's first carpet recycling factory in Northampton, where I'll explain how your old, unwanted carpets like those can be turned into plastic pellets here and made into all sorts of other products instead of going into landfill.
Cruising through a British clean sweep on day 2 at the US Open, with the 6 players in action all reaching the second round, including Andy Murray.
Yeah, good morning. It may only be August, but the Christmas decorations are out. I'm at a garden centre in North Yorkshire, where we'll be finding out how some businesses are tackling a slump in sales of garden furniture after a soggy summer.
Hundreds of tents have been left behind at campsites following the Leeds Festival at the weekend.
Well, drone footage, you can see, look at that, showed all the camping equipment that's been left all littered over the fields there at Bramham Park. Volunteers and charities who visited the site to salvage the tents described it as appalling.
When I first saw those pictures, I thought it was from the actual festival ongoing. There's so much down there. I thought people were still on the site, but gosh, that's an awful lot of mess to clear up, isn't it? Good luck with that to the volunteers. Right, it's 6:15.
The Prime Minister has led tributes to a police officer from Nottinghamshire who has died after being hit by a train. Sergeant Graham Saville had been attempting to save a man in distress on railway tracks at Balderton near Newark last Thursday. Rishi Sunak said his death is a reminder of the work police do to keep us safe. More zombie-style knives and machetes are to be banned, and police to be given more powers to seize and destroy them. The crackdown includes a maximum sentence of 2 years in England and Wales for the importation, manufacturing, possession and sale of the weapons. A new offence will also be introduced for possessing the knives with the intent to endanger life or cause fear of violence. An inquest has heard that the cause of death of 10-year-old Sarah Sharif in Surrey hasn't yet been discovered, but the coroner says it's likely to have been unnatural. Police are trying to trace her father, his partner and his brother, who travelled to Pakistan shortly before Sarah's body was discovered in Woking earlier this month.
Campaigners have occupied a block of empty flats owned by the Ministry of Justice in Islington and are demanding that they are given to families who need homes in the borough. The block used to be occupied by prison officers at Pentonville but has been vacant for a decade. The Ministry of Justice says an application to turn the site into new housing was turned down by the council, and they're continuing to look for the best way to use the building. Campaigners say around 15,000 families are on the housing waiting list in Islington. Cameras used to enforce the newly expanded ultra-low emission zone are continuing to be vandalised. The latest incident was reported in Bromley, where 4 cameras were painted red in protest. The Mayor insists the zone is needed to tackle air pollution. A £160 million scrappage scheme is still available for all Londoners to claim a maximum of £2,000 per vehicle. Bob and his daughter are among the thousands of Londoners who have applied, but say the process is slow.
She applied last Monday, the 21st, the first day of the scrappage scheme, and up to today we've heard nothing.
And for more on the arguments for and against the expansion of ULEZ, head over to our website. OK, well, let's see how the tube's running at this time of this morning. And so far, it looks like there's a good service on all of the network. And just a reminder, rail bosses are advising people to plan ahead if you're intending to use the trains on Friday, as strike action is planned. 16 operators are affected, including Southern, South Eastern and SWR, who has said the majority of its network will be closed. And RMT members are also taking industrial action on Saturday.
Let's have a look at this morning's papers, shall we? And many of the front pages sum up a second day of delays for air passengers. The Mirror there focusing on one family who, it says, have forked out an extra £4 grand on flights to get home to Belfast from Mallorca. They'll be wondering if they're ever going to see that money again, won't they?
Yeah, it's a good question to ask today, actually. The London Mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, is facing a revolt over ULEZ. This is according to The Telegraph. The paper features an image, you can see it there, of protesters carrying what is described as a mock coffin. The paper quotes the Transport Secretary Mark Harper, who has called for there to be a grace period before drivers in London are issued with fines.
The Times this morning says scientists are pouring cold water on beer goggles. They report on a study that's been done in America by the University of Pittsburgh, which has found that alcohol cannot make somebody appear more attractive.
Tempting to comment on that, but I won't.
Discuss.
Discuss. And let's show you this instead, shall we? A pretty striking painting of the monarch of the Glen. A very, very famous picture. It's by Sir Edwin Landseer, one of the most well-known British pictures of the 19th century.
It's in the news this morning because it's been moved. You can see them moving it there to its new home at the National Gallery of Scotland, and a month to go before the gallery there in Edinburgh opens the new Scottish galleries at the National on the 30th of September, and that will take rather splendid pride of place. Magnificent, isn't it?
Really is, isn't it?
At the front pages then this Wednesday, the Eye reports that UK airlines, who weren't themselves responsible for that meltdown, have been accused by passengers of abandoning them. According to The Sun, some Brits trapped abroad could be there for up to 2 weeks. And as bad as it's been, the Mail says there won't be a penny in compensation for those who have suffered. The Metro estimates the air traffic disruption could cost the British economy up to £80 million. The Telegraph today says the London Mayor, Sadiq Khan, faces a revolt over the ULEZ expansion. The Express has news that Rishi Sunak is tearing up Brussels regulations to speed up the building of 100,000 new homes in England. The Guardian says the Commons Foreign Affairs Committee wants Britain to take a tougher stance on China over human rights abuses. The FT reports that the investment bank Goldman Sachs used Chinese state money it had in its possession to buy a number of British and American companies. The Times leads on a survey that says most priests don't believe Britain is a Christian country anymore. And the Star explodes a popular myth, telling us scientists are now certain that having a few drinks does not make us look more attractive to others. Oh, what a myth. Right, if you see any of those front pages again or read the stories, then do scan the QR code on your screen.